What is up, car addicts? In this video, we'll be talking about this week's Triple Money Event Week, as well as the property and vehicle discounts, and the brand new 8 stunt races as well that released today, May 27th. So this event week is for May 27th through June 2nd, 2021. The current casino podium vehicle is the True Fade Nero Custom. The overall design is primarily based on the Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. Now, the Nero itself has a base price of about 1.4 million, but since this is the Benny's custom version, that Benny's custom conversion cost is about 600,000. So add those two together, and the podium vehicle, the Nero Custom, has a total base price of just over $2 million, which is absolutely crazy. Now, this car is obviously in the supercar class and used to be the king for most stunt races due to its great combination of handling and top speed, but obviously that has changed over the years where faster cars like the Emirates and Krieger have released. Now, in terms of customization, the Nero Custom, obviously a Benny's car, so as you can imagine, there are plenty of options to choose from. It's just a great overall car. But anyways, for those of you who originally paid full price for the Nero Custom and are not happy about it being on the podium, you can still take the one you originally purchased and sell it for about 1.4 million, depending on your upgrades and how much you paid for it originally. So, is the Nero Custom worth attempting to win by spinning the lucky wheel over and over this week? I'm gonna say 1000% yes. Getting a $2 million car off the casino podium for free is absolutely amazing. And for those of you who already own a Nero Custom, you can sell your original and then win the podium one. And then if you recustomize the podium car, you'll still have a profit of about $1 million, which is pretty crazy. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be spinning the wheel tons of times this week, and honestly, I don't blame you. This is a great podium vehicle for sure. So, starting off with the property discounts, we have 40% off the facilities, as well as the upgrades and renovations for them as well. Now, the facility is a pretty useful one for those of you who host the Doomsday Heist or the infamous Bogdan Heist. And of course, it's currently the only place you can access the Orbital Cannon and many other exclusive weaponized vehicles in game as well. Moving along, we have 35% off the Avenger, so pretty much the flying version of the MOC, plus it's a great combat vehicle as well with tons of armor, although keep in mind that you need to own a facility in order to buy it. Moving on to the vehicle discounts, we have 40% off the Morgan, so this car is in the sports car class and used to be one of the fastest cars in that class around most tracks due to a turbo upgrade glitch. However, Rockstar did eventually patch that glitch and that car is not the fastest anymore. However, it's still in top 5 for most tracks, which is still pretty impressive. Moving along, we have 40% off the Infernus Classic. So this car is of course in the Sports Classics class and unfortunately isn't very fast in comparison to the top Sports Classics cars such as the Turismo Classic and Cheetah Classic for example. However, in terms of customization and details, Rockstar did a phenomenal job on the design of this car with its interior, engine model, overall design, etc. It's just a great overall car and very similar to its real life counterpart. Next up, we have 40% off the X80. So this car is in the supercar class and is a pretty quick car in a straight line. However, it does lack in terms of handling due to its lack of downforce. The X80 drives as if it barely has any downforce, which forces you to slow down extra in many corners and races so you don't literally fly off the track. Now, the Emirates and Krieger, they're just much better overall choices in pretty much every racing situation. The X80 is pretty fast in a straight line, but again, not really that useful when it can barely take corners at higher speeds. Moving on to the Benny's website, we have 40% off the Gauntlet Classic Custom. So this car is in the muscle car class and has one of the highest top speeds in that class, which is pretty funny to see. Now, the Pizwazer Dominator and the Hellfire do have very similar top speeds and they accelerate and handle a lot better, so it does unfortunately make the Gauntlet Classic Custom a little less useful in top speed intense muscle car races, but overall it's still a great car to own, especially since it's a Benny's car with such great top speed performance at the same time and great customization as well. Moving on to the Warstock website, we have 35% off the Scramjet, one of the most fun vehicles in game due to its jumping and boosting ability, making it a crazy stun vehicle and one of the best vehicles to mess around with. Plus it has the homing missiles as well on top of that. It's just a great all-around car. This car and the Toreador are my two personal favorite weaponized vehicles in game. Moving along, we have 40% off the thruster. So this is obviously the famous jetpack. One of the thruster's coolest features in my opinion is the fact that it can dodge Oppressor Mark II missiles if you're flying fast in a straight line. Although keep in mind that you need to own a facility in order to purchase the thruster. Next up, we have 40% off the Kanjali. This is currently the best tank in the game and honestly is pretty overpowered if you use it properly, but obviously an Oppressor Mark II spamming homing missiles at you can end your day pretty quickly, and this one also requires you to own a facility in order to purchase it as well. Moving along, we have 40% off the RCV, probably the most useless vehicle in all of GTA in my opinion. Do not waste your money on this thing, guys. And again, this one requires you to own a facility as well in order to buy it. Just an overall waste of money, in my opinion, even at this discounted price. Next up, we have the Chernobog. Now, the Chernobog is quite controversial as to how useful it really is. Personally, I find it to be pretty useless in random online sessions specifically, where you can get blown up from far away by a couple explosive heavy sniper rounds, or one homing missile from an Oppressor Mark II. That's really all it takes. It's really something to think about, but obviously the missiles on it are pretty good. So again, you have to outweigh what you're going to be using it for. Also to note, this one requires you to own a facility in order to purchase it as well. Next up, we have 40% off the Rocketvoltaic, and this vehicle is a ton of fun to mess around with, but honestly the Scramjet that we talked about earlier is just a much better overall buy. It takes what we love about the Rocketvoltaic, which is the boosting function, and it adds in missiles, jumping function. It's just a much better vehicle. Plus, you don't need to own any special property to own the Scramjet, but you need to own a special vehicle warehouse in order to purchase the Rocketvoltaic. And lastly, we have 40% off the Hydra. So the Hydra doesn't really go on sale too often. It's one of the best jets in the game for combat, and honestly one of my favorites till this day. Definitely a great purchase if you don't have one already. So that's it for vehicle discounts. A very good amount this week with tons of variety to choose from. I think Rockstar completely knocked it out of the park for this week in terms of discounts, and obviously they're going to continue to put a lot of discounts every week leading up to the main DLC update. And this is mainly done so you can spend a lot more of your money on vehicles. So definitely keep an eye on how much money you have, because when that main DLC update comes out, you're going to regret purchasing some of those really expensive weaponized vehicles that cost millions of dollars. So again, keep that in mind. I'd personally restrict myself to maybe buying one or maybe two at most vehicles from every event week that you've always wanted, for example, that have a really good price. In terms of login items, you can get this wine coil cap for free just for logging in this week, which is pretty cool. In terms of triple money, we have triple money NRP on the Motor Wars adversary mode. So this is the last week to do the triple money for the adversary mode Motor Wars. It was lasting until June 2nd, and that happens to be the end of this event week. So this will be your last chance to earn triple money on Motor Wars this week for possibly a very long time. Moving along, we have triple money NRP on normal stunt races as well as the 8 new stunt races that were added today. So for those of you who don't know, we received our first mini update today leading up to the main update, which is coming later this summer. So the mini update today includes 8 new stunt races in terms of content, and that is the only thing in terms of new content for today. So 8 new stunt races, and that's it. And of course everything else that we're used to getting in the event weeks. So moving along, in terms of double money, we have double money NRP on the Simian missions, which is pretty cool. This is a great way for those of you who are newer players to the game and don't own any businesses to make a decent bit of money. Moving on to the Prime Gaming discounts for Prime Gaming members only. I will leave instructions in the pinned comment on how to become a Prime Gaming member if you aren't one already. So we have 80% off the Sultan Classic. This car is in the sports car class and is a very quick car in terms of rally style off-road tracks. However, it's not as stable as the Flash GT and Issy Sport, for example, which just absorb the bumps in those rally races a lot better. Next up, we have 60% off the Vagrant. So this vehicle is in the off-roads class and is one of the fastest in that class depending on the race. The BF400 is still the best for most off-road races, but there are some where the Vagrant can still beat it. Moving along, we have 80% off the Patriot Stretch. So this vehicle is considered a normal personal vehicle, so you can store it anywhere you'd like. However, the Patriot Stretch is pretty useless in my opinion, and Rockstar pretty much copied and pasted the old 2013 limo interior. They didn't really put too much effort into it, but if for some reason you've always wanted to own a Hummer limo, I guess now's your chance for a price that's a lot more realistic than we usually pay for it. And lastly, for Prime Gaming, you will continue to get the sonar station upgrade for the Kasaka submarine for free for like the 5th month in a row now. This upgrade normally costs 1.2 million, and getting it for free is pretty nice. Also, don't forget, guys, you just vlogging this week as a Prime Gaming member, you'll get a free $200,000, which is pretty cool. Again, guys, if you don't see a discount on these vehicles, it's because you don't have your Prime Gaming account linked to your social club. Again, all the information how to do that is down below in the pinned comment. And lastly, we have, of course, the RC Bandito Time Trial Construction Site 1. This week's normal time trial is Observatory. I highly recommend either the Hakachu Drag, Shotaro, or a Batty 801 for that time trial. And this week's premium race is the Supercar Race Taking Off. I highly recommend either the Emerus, Krieger, or Devest 8 for this race. Every Friday I post a guide on how to easily beat the time trials and premium race, so stay tuned for that if you're new. Anyways, guys, hope this was helpful. Overall, this event week is pretty amazing with the variety of vehicle discounts we have, the triple and the double money, and of course those 8 new stun races on triple money, which definitely makes them worth checking out this week. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.